Hello Dogs and Dugettes, welcome back to WWE 2K16 Universe Mode. Basically what we've got here is we've got no match, so we're going to simulate this now. Yeah. So we're going to do what we haven't done in a while, which is we're going to have a match on NXT. Now there's an NXT title match tonight, and Kevin Owens, I believe he retained? Oh no, yeah, no, he won. Sami Zayn vs Hideo Itami. Ooh. I think what we're gonna do is I think we're gonna put Dean in this matchup against Samoa Joe. And where are you, Samoa Joe? Where are you hiding, Samoa Joe? Oh no, he's on the download it. Gonna be honest, I completely forgot he was a downloaded character. And here we go. We're gonna dive right into this. NXT Samoa Joe versus Dean Ambrose. This, ladies and gentlemen, could be an absolute incredible match. Well, I'm not gonna say could be an absolute incredible match. It most likely will be an incredible match. Obviously, Dean Ambrose showed up on NXT a month or two ago now. He took on Prince Pretty himself, Tyler Breeze, in what was a pretty one-sided affair, I will say. But I wouldn't expect that here tonight against the Samoan submission machine. And a great ovation on NXT for Dean Ambrose. Obviously, the fans know what this guy can bring to the table. And here we go, awaiting now the arrival of Samoa Joe. And here comes Samoa Joe. Just look at that face. That is a man who is on an absolute mission here in NXT to become NXT champion. And he is looking at his next obstacle, which is Dean Ambrose. But as we know, Samoa Joe is a man who likes to run for his obstacles, take those obstacles head on, and tonight will be no exception. And here we go. Samoa Joe, Dean Ambrose, here on NXT. And Dean Ambrose wasting a little time. He's not going to get in a lockup with Samoa Joe. As we know, Samoa Joe is a technician. An absolute mat expert. And there we go. A nice suplex by Samoa Joe, taking Dean Ambrose down. Goes for the hit. Dean Ambrose counters. Chop by Ambrose. Remember, Ambrose sustained a loss to Dolph Ziggler on Raw the night after Payback. So a win over Samoa Joe could go a long way in pretty much boosting Ambrose's morale at this point, because Ambrose obviously defeating Jericho at Payback, and oh, Joe moves out the way. And now Joe's gonna take advantage. He knows the veteran, both men veterans in their own right, and Joe was gonna come out then and pick up the pieces of a broken Ambrose, but Ambrose made sure it did not happen. And as we know, Dean Ambrose, as I was saying, did lose to Dolph Ziggler. He beat Chris Jericho Payback, but lost to Dolph Ziggler. And obviously that's going to be playing on the mind of Ambrose. And hopefully that won't distract him here tonight in his quest to defeat Samoa Joe. And a slam again to the big Samoa Joe. And going to the top rope now. What's he going to do? Dives up, elbow drop to Joe. Covered by Ambrose to defeat Joe on NXT. Ooh, and a close call already. Or maybe Joe's just saving a bit of his energy for later on down the line, because you know these guys are far from done. Only a few minutes into this match, and they've been throwing bombs at each other left, right, and center. Ambrose contemplating going to the top rope, thought better of it. Maybe he doesn't want to take too many chances. He doesn't want to sustain another loss. And here we go. And here we go, picks him up, and no, Joe with a knee straight to the skull. And a jawbreaker for his troubles. And a slam again to Joe. And now those right hands raining down on the face of Samoa Joe. Ambrose gets him up. Obviously, Joe's going to have his fans here, so is Ambrose. But NXT is pretty much Joe's yard. And there we go, another clothesline. Well, that's the first clothesline we've seen, but we know Ambrose uses that clothesline a lot. Here we go. Right hand falls out of a headbutt. Goes for another right. chop. Right again. And now Ambrose slapping Joe around. Maybe not the smartest choice Ambrose has made in this match. And oh, and a drop kick right to the gut. And you can just see Joe's face, the welts that are beginning to form on Samoa Joe's face. Here we go, Dean Ambrose. And now the second clothesline, taking Joe straight down to the mat. Grabs him, puts him against the ropes. What's he gonna go for here? Nice forearm. Ambrose rebounds, and the lariat taking down Joe. And the second rope, what's he thinking of here? Drops it down onto almost the leg of Joe there. And again a counter. These guys pretty much going move for move at every angle. And an STO by Joe. And now here he goes, bounce off the ropes. Oh, that 300-pounder landing straight on top of Dean Ambrose. And again, another counter. These guys have pretty much scouted each other. They must have watched some tapes before this. They have been studying each other's moves. They've been studying each other's actions in the ring. They have pretty much just been studying everything in Dean Ambrose. Dropping an elbow to the outside on Samoa Joe. And now he's coming over to the announce table. And now he's tearing the announce table apart. You know, Dean Ambrose loves to put people through the announce table. Just ask Chris Jericho. Jericho was pretty much on the receiving end of most of Ambrose putting guys through a table. He's pretty much been on the receiving end, Jericho. But tonight isn't about Chris Jericho. As much as I guarantee Jericho would like it to be. It's about these two men in this ring making history. First time ever here on NXT. And the 7, I believe. And the referee being a bit lenient here. He knows this is a big time match. A matchup that could pretty much elevate both men's careers. Win or lose, it is pretty much a win-win situation. And nice arm drag there by Joe. Right hand, Joe throwing those. Oh, and the shots in Ambrose. The belly to back suplex by Joe. And Ambrose goes straight down. A 4 count now. We do not want this to end on a count out. And I'm not just speaking for myself here. I'm speaking for all these fans here. They are into this matchup. They know what these guys can bring to the table. The contrasting styles these guys bring. And the 7 count. Ambrose tried to grab Joe. Joe goes straight back outside the ring. And now Joe's playing some mind games. And that's pretty smart by the Samoan submission machine. And a spine buster by Dean Ambrose, taking Joe straight down again. Joe spent almost more time on his back than on his feet in this matchup. And it's easy to see why, because he's using that style that Ambrose is famous for, that ground and pound, fists go flying sort of style by Dean. And here we go. Joe's going to join the list of guys who have been put through a table with dirty deeds. And the Samoan submission machine is down. And the fans electric here tonight at NXT. 6 count. 7. Is Dean actually going to let this one end on a counter? If he does, I think these fans will be pretty disappointed. 9. And Joe beats the count. I cannot believe it. Joe has beaten the count. Unexpected. Nobody thought Joe would have beaten the count there after being put for that table. But that just shows you the toughness of this guy. And here we go. The snapmare into a hard kick right to the back. And you know that's going to play a factor. It isn't a big time move, but it is indeed effective in the long run. And there we go. Joe slamming Ambrose straight to the mat. And what the hell is he going to do? What can these two men do to each other? And a knee. Well, that answers my question. Joe dropping a massive knee on the head of Ambrose. Oh, and here we go. A rig. And he just gets him straight back into the neck breaker there. Wasn't sure what Ambrose was thinking, but we found out. And Joe with a fireman's carry taking Ambrose down. Kicks to the gut. Dean Ambrose picks up Joe. Joe counters again into the DDT. I do not know how these two men are still going in this matchup. They have been at each other's throats since the opening bell. It even started off with a bulldog. There has been no traditional start to the matchup. There has been no collar and elbow tie-up, no rest holds. It has pretty much just been fists flying and feet kicking, and that is exactly what Dean Ambrose is used to, and he brings that to the table. And Joe has read Ambrose's book, and he's read it, and he's telling Ambrose that he pretty much knows what to expect from the Lunatic Fringe. And a drop kick to the knee of Joe, and that's going to affect the Muscle Buster and a variety of other moves that Joe does. And Samoa Joe is down again. Dean Ambrose is going to pick him up, maybe thinking dirty deeds, or what is he going to do? No, tries to pick him up again, but Joe has scouted it so well, hits him with the back suplex. And Ambrose counters. I believe Joe was going for those triple suplexes. And Dean now saying, I read your book, Joe. And here we go, resting him up against the ropes. What has he got to be thinking here? Taking his time, not going to rush anything. The forearm off the ropes, takes down Samoa Joe. And now what has Dean Ambrose got to be thinking? How can he put this monster away? Can he put this monster away? That's another question, and Ambrose is about to answer that. Hooks the arms. Dirty deeds. And the dirty deeds drill Samoa Joe's head straight into the canvas. But what is Ambrose doing? He's not finished. He's going to go for it again. And Ambrose signaling the end this time. He knows that maybe... No, but he may have made a mistake. And here we go off the ropes. The neck breaker. And I cannot believe it. Maybe Dean Ambrose was a bit overzealous. Maybe he has taken too many chances, and he has pretty much opened up the door of opportunity for Joe to take advantage and win this contest. The question is, can Joe do it? He has taken so much punishment in this match. And a short arm clothesline again. And you can just tell how exhausted Dean Ambrose is. But he is trying to fire himself back up, trying to get himself in that zone, trying to show Samoa Joe what he's made of, and he's done a pretty good job of that. And picking Samoa Joe up. What else can he do to this guy? He's going to try again, and the Bulldog. Is that going to be enough? Dean, I think, is confident that he can win this here tonight to redeem himself on the loss against Dolph Ziggler Monday on Raw. And what the hell? He's just literally throwing everything he can at it. Another Bulldog to Joe. And turns him over. He's going to get him in the cross-legged arm trap STF. Shades of Regal. And no, he just lets him out. He knows he's not going to make the Samoan submission machine tap out. So he needs to rethink the strategy right now. And what's he going to do? Ambrose now waiting. Turning Joe around. And here we go. Hits him with dirty deeds, and Joe is cut open. Joe is busted open. Joe is a wounded animal. The cover. 2. And Joe kicks out again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to end the episode here. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, favorite, and subscribe if you're not already to become a Doug or Duggar. And we'll see you in the next part of this video.